some things that I could kind of add into
like
it.
you sideways a little bit. I don't know if that with the camera, like it turned to sideways or something. We lost him. Roger, yeah? Roger. Okay, no, it looks like you got a picture up there. You're on mute.
How about now?
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. Now, I was saying you had another picture at the top. I don't know if that was just the other computer or whatever.
It's good. It gives them the side view too.
Yeah.
Hey, banking always goes up and down and sideways, so he's got to show a lot of ways.
That's the truth.
Definitely.
See, he's got that zero slope, so that means that he's neither losing or gaining.
Right. And Roger, we put a little bit about you in the presentation as well.
Sure.
I found an old picture. I didn't have anything new, so.
No worries. That works. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
Nope. Still in the same field, right? And I want to introduce a couple other educators and administrators on the call. We have Officer Keller. We have Assistant Principal, Mr. Gross. We have Mr. Hollander, a mathematician, math teacher. Dr. B as well. She does a lot of great things with our school. Very, very resourceful. Works hands on students, parents, or what have you.
Okay. Pleasure to meet all of you.
And the students are in the class right now with Mr. Hollander, so they'll be able to hear you. So the ball's in your court. You can start whenever you want to start, and just let me know whatever you want me to do to facilitate clicking the presentation or what have you.
Yeah, just give me a heads up.
Whatever you want to present as well. I think I would have to stop presenting to let you to present whatever you want to present.
Okay, I just got in on the desktop.
Okay. Unmuted.
Just let me know when to start. That way I can record the meet.
Okay.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we have two of them set up just in case. As a backup, I have my phone set up, but I'm on the desktop now. So. Okay. All right, I'm ready whenever you are.
Yeah, you let me know.
Go ahead. We can start.
Okay.
All right, we are recording.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Edzar Roger, and I'm with PNC Bank. I'm a business commercial banker for PNC Bank. I had the privilege of knowing Mr. Glover for some time now. Had an opportunity to go out to one of the schools and do a class session on financial education. And at this time, I wanted an opportunity to not only discuss the career in banking and banking as a whole, but also an opportunity to discuss some of the opportunities that are out there now, putting into fact the market conditions that we are currently in right now. Most of the information is readily available, but most individuals don't know how to get that information. So, Mr. Glover, if you have the PowerPoint up.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Sure. So a little bit about myself. I've been in the banking industry for 23 years. I went to school in Miami, down south in Miami. Went to elementary school, junior high, everything. Did the grade school, public school system. And then I went to University of South Florida to get my bachelor's degree in marketing and economics. And then I started my banking career while I was still in college. And while in college, I never thought that I would stay in banking. That wasn't the idea. That wasn't the goal. I actually wanted to be an A&R rep for music and for the music industry. But once I got into the industry, got my degree, moved over to Palm Beach, and I actually started enjoying what I did for a living. It not only was helping others in finances, but it actually helped myself and my family because of what I learned by working in this particular industry. Not only by working in the industry, but the customers that I was having taught me a lot because we have customers from all walks. You know, we have those that are just coming up, just starting businesses and understanding the businesses that they started with. And you have those that have become extremely wealthy and they share their knowledge with me as well. It's definitely been a blessing and an opportunity, even though it wasn't the direction I wanted to go into. It's definitely something that I feel I'm good at, and I definitely feel that I'm making a difference as far as helping others. So a little background about PNC Bank, right? PNC Bank, for those of you who don't know, is one of the top 6 largest banks in the country right now. We actually just purchased another bank called BBVA. BBVA is actually the bank of the NBA, if you will. That's their claim to fame. That purchase was just made just a couple months ago, which is going to put PNC in a new market, in several new markets. We've only been on the East Coast and just started breaking into the central part of the country. But now we're going to be in Colorado, California. We're growing tremendously in Texas. So the bank is definitely making some increases. You'll see some of our ATMs in the 7-Elevens and in some of the Wawa gas stations. All of the ATMs that are in those particular gas stations are PNC ATMs. But one of the things that I'm very proud of with PNC is it's not about being the biggest bank. It has nothing to do with that. They truly look into educating our customers and going out into the footprint to make a difference so people are a little bit more knowledgeable financially and to see what's available to them. So you see there on the screen there, as far as, again, the growth of the branches, I'm sure it's much more than 2296 branches at the moment, a little bit over 9,000 ATMs, listed as 5th largest bank as far as branches, and the 6th largest in deposits, and the 4th largest in the number of ATMs. So BlackRock, National City Corporation subsidiary, that's a type of investment, BlackRock investment. We actually got out of BlackRock this past year. It's a huge investment the banks make. So just like we make investments, banks make investments as well. And we took out that investment, which is a little bit over $11 billion. And that's what we used to purchase BBVA, the other bank that gave us a larger footprint. Go to the next screen. So here's a picture of me. This some time ago, Mr. Glover. I forgot how many years. Probably about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, about 3 years back. About 3 years back at Connaughton.
About 3 years back, right? So this was great. And what I was doing, I was actually working in a different department than I'm in right now. I was working in a department called Workplace Banking. And Workplace Banking, we're actually the only bank now that offers a workplace banking program. Wells Fargo used to offer it. They canceled that program last year. Bank at Work was the Bank of America. That program got away. But what workplace banking does is it offers a solution to bring banking to employees and bring financial education. And this was an opportunity where I was actually going from school to school and having a chance to speaking to a lot of the programs that are available to students now, business programs, and talking to them about starting businesses, how to start a business, what banks look for when you're starting a business so that you can get funding and lending. So this is one of the first classes that I had a privilege of talking to, and we still feel that that's financial education is a big piece in bridging that gap between poverty and wealth, to be honest with you. Next page.
And Roger, let me chime in real quick. And it was phenomenal because we were able to, at Coniston at the middle school level, in conjunction with PNC Bank, and thankful to Roger, that these students, if you look in the background, those are their billboards for their companies. They all came up with company names, and these were middle schoolers. They come up with company names, but they wanted to know the ins and outs, how to formulate a company, the banking behind the company, and what to do once you formulated that. So in conjunction with Roger, we were able to bring everything to fruition, and it was phenomenal.
That's right. It was great. It was great, and really seeing the engagement with the students as well. You know, the thirst to get some information to really understand something was definitely a prize through the process. All right, so virtual education field trip. All right, for PNC. All right, next page. So what do you know about PNC? So we already talked a little bit about PNC, right? We already know that it's a growing bank. It's one of the largest, top 6 largest banks. We have branches that are spreading out, heading out to the West Coast, predominantly here in Florida. We stopped right at the Miami market, but we're actually going to be breaking into the Miami market this year in Coral Gables in South Miami. But we typically have branches that go all the way up to Broward. And PNC, actually, the name came from 2 banks. Provident National Bank was one of the banks, and Prudential, and we came together, and they just kept the initials PNC. So it was two banks that actually merged together. Previously, PNC Bank was National City Bank, if you remember that bank back in the days. Fidelity Federal, National City, now PNC Bank. And that's who we are right now. So next page. You have the next slide?
Yeah, it says, what do you know about business banking? The slide that's there now, that's the new slide. It talks about the business banking and personal banking. Hold on, I think we lost him. Roger, you there?
All right, we're having a breakup on this, but that's okay. I have a backup. All right. It's okay. I can see here. I have a backup here. So
Okay.
I have a backup here. All right. Let me put this down. All right. Sorry about that.
That's cool.
So look in here. So what do you know about business banking or personal banking with PNC? So business banking. So again, there are different departments in banking, right? Business banking is what I'm currently in right now, whereas what I worked for before in workplace banking was part of the personal aspect, right? I worked with businesses, but it was mainly trying to get new relationships with the employees and helping them financially with their car loans, with their mortgages, with getting a checking account, setting up a savings account, connecting them to financial advisors. So there are different departments. There's a lot of moving parts within the banking industry, right? So personal banking and business banking is where I spent most of my years in the banking industry. So what are some things to know? Well, a couple of things is there are all types of personal accounts that you can set up nowadays, right? So within a checking and savings account, the key is to find a bank that really meets your needs. You figure a bank is a bank. Sure enough, bank keeps deposits and you can invest money, you can borrow money. But each bank brings something different to the table, okay? And it's really finding out what is that spark that makes you want to do business with a particular bank. Now, if you're going to be keeping your money somewhere, you want to make sure that that bank is not only you providing information, but giving you the tools so that you can actually understand how to grow your money and how to invest your money. All right. So now with business banking, what we do in the business banking world is we help individuals once they start up their business. We help them set up their accounts and we give them different tools so they can move money around. All right. We call this having a cash flow conversation. Cash flow conversation is just asking the simple questions. And those questions are, again, what do you do? How do your clients pay you? Okay. Understanding, if it's through credit cards, is it cash? Is it checks? what are some of the services that you're giving your clients to get money to you, right? You're offering a service, and then they're in turn paying you. So you want to make it as easy as possible for them to pay you and give them options. And really what we do in business banking is provide the tools and the information so that you can collect money faster and safely. I'll give an example of this. I had a client yesterday that's opening a gas station for the very first time. Never owned a gas station before. So we had to talk about, hey, when you have a gas station, you're dealing with a lot of cash. How are you moving that cash from the gas station to the bank? Now, some people will say, hey, I just get someone, we have one of the employees, they throw in $20,000 in cash in the bag and they walk over to the bank. But how many of you know that that's not the safest way to do it now? There are other options that are there. So we come in business banking and we show additional options that are available so that you can make your business a lot more convenient, safer, and more cost effective. On the personal side, same thing. Personal bankers are there to assist you in your growth. When you open an account from having a student checking account, which has no cost to it, no requirements for it, right? Up until you finish college, should you go to college, and you get into the workforce. Now you're getting into having a regular checking account. Now the key is to understand, hey, we want to be available and be there for you for all the changes in your life. It is a known fact, every 6 months in everyone's life, there is a financial change in their life. If you look back 6 months in your life, there's been something that's changed in your finances, whether you're making more money, you're spending more money, you've increased debt, you've removed debt, something has changed in the last 6 months financially to you. So what personal bankers are, is they're there for when those changes come into effect, that we can provide you the sets and products and information to assist you. And then walk along the ways of doing that, understanding how to purchase your first home, the programs that are available to purchasing your first home, understanding how to use credit wisely. Credit is not a terrible thing. Credit cards are not bad. It's the way that we use them that makes the difference. So this is where personal banking comes into play at that point. Next slide.
Just had two students to come in, Roger.
No worries. That's fine. Okay, we just talked about that. So PNC itself, headquarters, Towers is located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where our corporate headquarters is located. And many banks have different market shares in the area. What a market share is, how much of the clients or the population is doing business with you, right? The market share is extremely big in Pittsburgh. It's close to 40%, which is huge for a bank. If I'm not mistaken, in Florida, we only have a 6% market share. That means out of all the clients, out of all of the population, the citizens of Florida, residents of Florida, 6% of them have a relationship with PNC. That's pretty small. So there's a lot of growth and a lot of opportunity. And this is where I come in. My job is to go out there, find those individuals that have business accounts and show them what we have to offer, right? But Pittsburgh is really big. They actually employ a good majority of Pittsburgh residents, the corporation that's out there.
Let me ask you this, Roger.
Sure.
Could you explain the process? So say, for instance, these students are working on being first-time business owners, right? Could you explain the process, I guess, from the ground up when they come in, the documents they should have, the EIN number, LLC, articles of the corp, things of that nature, because that would be the next phase. So they can have a option or exit, and they can know what to expect when they come into the branch.
Absolutely. So from the business aspect, so what are we looking for when you come to open a business account? All right, we're looking to make sure that the business is registered with articles of incorporation. Now, on sunbiz.gov, if you go to sunbiz.gov, www.sunbiz.gov, you will find all the businesses that are registered in the state of Florida that are doing business here in the state of Florida. You just type the business's name up, and within that, you'll see who the officers are of the business. Not necessarily the owners. Most of the times they're the owners, but you'll see the officers, you'll see the address of the business, And in many cases, you'll see the second piece of information that we need, which is your tax ID number. Okay. What a tax ID number is for a business, EIN number, that's another way of calling it, employee identification number. It's basically the social security number for the business. That's what that is. Okay, so the business is its own entity. So you go to sunbiz.org and you're either going to register your business as a corporation, okay, LLC, INC, those are corporations. You can set it up as a partnership with someone else, or you can set up as a sole proprietor. As a sole proprietor, you and the business basically are one. You're saying you could even use your social security number for that business. We still recommend getting a separate tax ID number for the business, but you can as a sole proprietor. Now, some of the reasons why people move from being sole proprietors to incorporated is for protection. If you have a particular business that is sensitive and something goes wrong, that business can be sued or can be gone after. If you're tied with your business, your personal assets can be tied with that as well as a sole proprietor. And that's why people separate their businesses and make it corporations. So once you've registered your business on sunbiz.org, it'll cost you anywhere from $70 to $150 to do that. You now go to the irs.gov website. The irs.gov website, after you've confirmed that your business name is not taken and that it has been registered for you. Nowadays, it's taking anywhere from 7 to 10 days to see that registration. Before, it used to be something within 48 hours, but it's taking a lot longer. But once that name is registered, you go to irs.gov and you can apply for an EIN tax ID number. This tax ID number will be provided to you same day, doesn't cost you a thing to get the tax ID number. But it is very important that you make sure that the name is registered with Sunbiz first. Some people will go in, put in the application for the name, and then go get a tax ID immediately. This is not the way to do it. This is not the way to do it. The reason for this is because if the name does not get registered, now you have a tax ID that's floating out there, and then for some reason the name is not registered, and it doesn't work that way. But once you get that tax ID, which is provided to you the same day, you come in with your tax ID number, your articles of incorporation, and you're ready to open an account at this point.
Roger, also, could you elaborate on, once they have that business open, any finances that are available to them during these unprecedented times? I know since March, there's a slew of the new industry of PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, and a lot of people qualify, meaning sole proprietorships, individuals, businesses, or what have you. How do we go about, how do the students, faculty, staff go about, resourcing, tapping into those resources? What's the guidance for that to bring those to fruition?
Okay, good question. Very good question. So a lot of assistance is out there now. So basically, once you've you set up your business, there are different types. The 3 types of loans that are out there right now are your PPP funding loan, which is mainly for payroll. It's the payroll protection program. 60% of the money that you get from the government has to be going towards payroll. So if you have people that are working for you, even if it's just you as an employee, you can actually put in an application for the PPP. You have to do it through your bank. You can't go to a website at SBA to do it. Whatever bank you bank with, that's where you put the application in for the PPP. That's accessible for you, and it goes up to $2 million. I mean, there's companies out there getting that kind of money so that they can keep their employees employed. Again, if it's 1 person, 2 people, it's accessible for you. We're actually going through our second round of PPP in the next couple of weeks that we're lending out. And this is what's getting forgiven by the government at this point. You don't have to pay this back. As long as you put down the expenses that you're having with your business, they're basically, government is going ahead and saying, hey, we're going to give you X amount of dollars to help you keep your business open. So that's one of them, and that's PPP. That's available through the bank that you bank with your business account. You put an application there, and it's a self-explanatory application that tells you all the documents that you need to submit. The second loan, which I feel is the loan that everyone should have tried for. I have a side business, and I highly recommend nowadays to have passive income, to create some type of passive income. So you may have your career, you may have your job, but it's always good to have something else that's bringing income, right? Whether you're investing or you're purchasing property and renting property, or if you just say, hey, I just do this little business on the side. I have a consulting business that I do on the side. A lot of my consulting are to business owners in creating business plans and business proposals. And I actually do that when I have opportunity to do so. But I was able to apply for the EIDL loan, okay? EIDL is called Economic Income Disaster Loan. This loan has always been around, okay? PPP is new, but the EIDL has always been around. It's actually here whenever we have hurricanes, any disasters, natural disasters that come through, you go to the SBA.gov website, you can apply for your business through the EIDL. I didn't do much activity the previous year with my business, but I applied for the EIDL loan and I got $2,000. That's $2,000 more than I was expecting to receive, to be quite honest with you. And you don't have to pay this back. You get up to $10,000. Anything that's $10,000 or less is just money given to you, sort of like a grant. Once it exceeds $10,000 that they're giving out to you, at that point, it becomes a loan. But it's a loan at a low interest rate. How low? 1%. Loans are typically 7, 8, 9%, okay, when you're getting a business loan. Depends if you have collateral or not. Well, they're giving you a loan for 1%. And I say they, meaning the government. Now, this is a huge opportunity because now you can pay this loan back in as much as 30 years. 30 years to pay this loan back, right? So you can borrow $100,000 and pay that back at 1%. It's very little interest to pay back. This is the opportunity where you can actually invest into another business or help grow your business currently, okay? The other thing is, and that's important, and the third loan that's available is actually loans that you can get through your local, like through the county. Palm Beach County had an assistance for businesses within the county. Most counties do, very similar to the PPP, and they have it readily available to assist businesses as well. You have to go to your state website, county website, to find out what's available for you to apply for. Okay. One thing I want to make mention, during this time, we're seeing some changes in the business world, okay? Although we have the dealings of COVID and there's a lot of downturn in some areas financially, some people are losing their jobs, there are still opportunities. We're seeing people take a difficult situation and turning it around into opportunity. I know of 2 people personally that have lost their jobs, and they actually started pursuing something that they've been wanting to pursue for the longest, 2 separate people. And they're actually thriving in this new business. Had they not have, not lost their job, although it's an unfortunate situation, they're in a better situation now financially, and they've changed the trajectory of their life moving forward because they're doing what they love and they're actually doing well. Many businesses that are thriving at this time are those that took care of their finances the right way. They had a backup. It's always recommended that you keep at least 3 to 6 months of reserves in a savings account. That applies personally and applies for business. And the ones that did that, they were able to weather the storm until they figured out a way to get around. And in some cases, they purchased their competitor. They actually went out and said, hey, this is a great time. They're not going to be able to survive. Let me buy up their competitor, and now I'm going to gain their clients because they're not in a good situation financially. And that's the importance of that. Understanding that in a recession, most of the big companies, some big companies have come from a recession. Although we're not in a recession, I'm not saying we are, but through difficult times. A couple of those companies are Microsoft. Microsoft was created during a time back in 1975 by Bill Gates during a tough time economically. And most recently, or I would say within the last 11 years, Uber and Airbnb, they were created during the housing crisis back in 2009. So there are opportunities out there for you to thrive. What questions can I answer?
I actually have one. With the EIDL, would that work for independent contractors as well?
Very good question. With the EIDL, they have some specific rules for independent contractors.
Okay.
The EIDL does work for independent contractors. However, it's what you have to supply to them so they can verify, the fundings that they give out to you. For example, PPP as well. You have to submit a Schedule C and some documentation so that they can give it to you. But it does work, because I know a couple of clients that did receive it, even though they were independent contractors.
Yeah, so it's good to know. I think I do food delivery for for Grubhub as well, and I've been a PNC member since you guys were Fidelity. So it's nice that we get our direct deposits. It's on there and it says Grubhub. So my wife does ship as well in the same thing. So that's one thing that looking into. We presently don't have our own LLC yet, but I know my wife and I have been talking about doing that, and to know that it does work is also good for us as well.
It does. My brother-in-law does Uber, and he got $1,000. Again, it's not a whole lot, but
yeah,
it's still $1,000 what he had.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Roger. This is one of our students, Mr. Delicat. Say hello.
Hello.
He has a question.
Sure.
Could I make an account for PNC Bank?
Can you open an account with PNC?
Yeah.
Okay. So how old are you?
15.
Okay. So yes, you can. So 15 is the starting age that we start opening student checking accounts. So the only thing is you have to have an adult with you to open the account. You can't have it by yourself. And I will say, if it's not a mom or dad, make sure it's somebody that's responsible that you can trust, because that account will be joint with that person. Okay. So they have access to that account as well, but you have to have it with an adult until you turn 18. But you can open one at age 15, and you can get a checking account or a savings account. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Delicat. Any more questions?
Any other questions?
Any students? Anyone have any more questions out there?
One thing I want to just stress, basically in achieving goals, if you're setting a goal aside, understanding what I see being a business banker is amazing, because I see a lot of people take some of the smallest things and make a really viable business with it. I know a young lady who's 22 years old. She didn't go to college or anything, and she owns 2 ice cream shops, right? And I asked her, I said, how did you get started doing this? You own 2 ice cream shops, you employ your brothers and sisters and your family and everything. She's 22 years old. She started selling fruit, okay, like a fruit stand. She started selling fruit, and then she decided to make it into ice cream. And through hard work and just the consistency of people knowing her and her particular product, she was able to make enough money to actually lease her first store and open up her first store. And then within 2 years, she was able to open up her second store. So there are opportunities. Do not look at it as being a lot of work. All right. There's a lot of things that could be considered a lot of work. That's why if you do something that you enjoy doing, it's not work at that point, right? You're kind of going in there doing what you want to focus on. So some of the key things to kind of look at in achieving a goal, define what that goal is. What is it that you want to attain, right? Write down, this is what I would like, right? You have to want that goal. Don't write it because someone tells you, hey, you should go after this. This is what you should go after. This is what you should attain. It has to be something that you really desire, right? You got to want it. Thirdly, believe in it. Believe that you could get that goal and attain that particular goal, that you have what it takes to attain it. Fourth, write it down. There is just something that comes with writing down information that you want to attain. Okay, same for me. I saw a big change in my life when I wrote down some of the things that I wanted to achieve, obtain, and some things that I wanted to correct in my life. Some of the flaws that I saw that I wanted to correct. I was able to attain all of those things down. I'm not gonna lie to you, it took me 8 years, but I remember I found that piece of paper and I was like, wow, I was able to accomplish this over the next 8 years. So definitely write it down. Split it up, break it into pieces so that you can attain one thing at a time. Review it, go over it, schedule a time, and then last but not least, do it. Don't put it on paper and not do it, not actually go out there and actually do it. Okay. So you got to have a vision. You got to have action behind that vision. One of the sayings that I stick by, I always use, it's a quote, it's a proverb. It says, a vision with no action is a daydream, but action with no vision is a nightmare. So you got to have both. You got to have a vision. You got to have action to really make things work for you. And seek out guidance. Okay. There's a lot of information out there. One of the things I didn't have growing up was Google, right? But there's Google out there to ask you information, but also find individuals that work in specific arenas, especially in the banking arena, finance arena, and find those that are willing to invest the time to provide you information so that you can benefit yourself and better yourself.
One quick, Jellicat student has one more question.
Sure.
So, please share.
If I open that account, can they touch the money that I put in?
Can the person you open it with, or who are you referring to today? Huh?
Yeah, the person I open it with. Can they touch
They can. They can. And this is why I say it's important that the person that you open it with has your best interest at heart. I did assist a lot of students out in the Belgrade area in establishing accounts. And one of the biggest things was making sure that they understand that, hey, you're doing this, you're putting money in the account, you're doing it with whoever's the guardian that you put on the account. That guardian has access to that money as well. So you want to do it with somebody that you can trust and just basically help you so that you can have this account. It's very important. They can't touch it.
Is it like a mini bank? So everything that my parents can do with their card, I can do it too.
Absolutely. So you will get a debit card. Debit card works differently from a credit card. As you know, debit cards are connected to the money in your account. Even though it has Visa, MasterCard on there, it's not a credit card. It's for the money that you have in your account. But yes, you can use it the same way that your parents do. The only difference is we're not holding you to keep a certain balance so that we don't charge a monthly fee. So your parents probably have some kind of requirement so that they don't pay to have a bank account. Right now, you can have a bank account. It doesn't cost you anything to have a bank account.
That's all.
Anything else? All right. Good question. Good question. Anybody else have a question?
Man, Roger, I just want to thank you, man, so much.
Sure.
Thank you so much, for bringing this to fruition and broadening their financial understanding of what's expected of them. And it's going to be definitely good going forward.
Excellent. Excellent. If at any time there's any additional questions or after this, if anyone has any questions, Mr. Glover, please, feel free to send an email. I'll be more than happy to reply back, or if you want to pull a series of questions from the students, I'll reply back with the answers to those questions, and you can go over it with them. Sure.
Perfect. Now, also, I think on slide 4.
Thank you, Rob.
Sure. What was that, Mr. Glover?
No, that was another teacher. Go ahead, Mr. Jefferson.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to say thank you. Information is very vital. I hope some other students that come on. It helps me out a little bit too, because I try to do my own little business work as well. And I've done some work with PNC on a couple of occasions, and look forward to maybe coming back to doing some other things with PNC. So I appreciate the time.
Man, that's awesome. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Christian, you got any questions you want to say, Christian Foss?
No, sir, but thank you.
All right, thank you for participating. Keep up the great work. The last assignment is by today's ending, I think Mr. Rogers' email address is inside of the Google Classroom for the students. Please send them a thank you email. We started this back at Coniston. All the students, they would send out emails saying thank you. So definitely, if you have time to do that, teachers, feel free to make sure that the students do that as well to show our appreciation taking time out of his busy banking schedule. Again, thank you, and thank you to PNC as well for allowing you the opportunity to do this for us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. Pleasure being here with you guys. You guys stay safe. And again, I'm readily available. Know how to get in contact with me. Be more than happy to assist any way I can.
Hold on real quick. Mr. Gross, you want to say anything? We have our assistant principals on.
Sure.
Hey there, Mr. Roger. I was just going to say thank you as well. I know a lot of our students are very into finances. You know, that's the one motivator. So I know this was a very good presentation for our students to hear. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Roger. You have a nice one, man. Looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you, folks. Have a good one.
We're on for Friday too, right?
Huh?
We're on for Friday too?
Yes, we are. We are.
All right. See you Friday.
Bye.
Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you, staff. Have a great day.